Thursday, August 21st. We're officially 2 weeks away from the start of football, that first Thursday night game. Cowboys, Eagles, that might interest our guest today. Every Thursday, we spend a little time with Sam Betesh of Thinking Out Loud with Siciliano. And Sam, brother, great to see you as always.
It feels like the season's here. You said 2 weeks, and I'm saying, wait, is it 2 weeks? It doesn't even feel like there's that much time. I can say this much. For Allie and for Jillian, it has arrived, as they say, right? We are as locked in to football right now. I mean, I've been watching preseason games like they matter, and it feels as if it is here. Labor Day, I know, is not quite here, but it is happening, Damon. It is happening. This, I can taste it. I can more than taste it. It's here.
Can I tell you what I officially tried to play the first card of my NFL season with Jillian?
Let's go.
I'm watching the Cowboys Netflix doc, and she asked me what I was doing, and without even missing a beat, I said, "I'm working."
Perfect.
I'm working.
Homework. I'm doing homework,
honey. I need to remember the 1992 NFC title game for tomorrow's show, so this is helping me do that. I'm working.
That's it. Sorry, Allie, I was giving it a time. Damon said he really enjoyed this. I am now consuming it. I need to download this into my brain. It's already there. By the way, there are visions of this already in my brain, but I am just going to fill in with color now. So I really have it top of mind. We are working. We are working hard, by the way. We are working very hard.
We're working hard for you, and it's so good to have you here. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. If you're one of the first 40 people in today, thank you very much for beating everyone else here.
Yes.
The early adapter, my kind of viewer. Thank you so much. Please hit like and subscribe. And please, my good friends, make sure that when you're thinking about lunch today, you think about my good friend Ike. My good friend Ike has an awful lot of delicious waiting for you. And if you're a member of the Love Rewards program, he's got $3 just waiting for you in your account right now to be applied to any purchase that you might make on the user app. Download that Love Rewards program app and start earning your way to free sandwiches. Again, he puts money in there for you. It's National Sandwich Month, everybody. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of my friend Ike. He wants to be taken advantage of. Go ahead and get it. Speaking of taking advantage, why don't you get to Muni, take advantage of the free ride that it basically gives you to the Dubliner. Oh, I guess you got to pay to get on Muni, but it's not much. Less than parking at a meter, basically. Get yourself to the Dubliner West portal, get a Guinness, say hi to Kenny, say hi to John, and just feel like this is a bar, even though it's your first time in it, it feels like you've been in it 100 times. It's just something about the Dubliner fits just instantly. Feels like home. Trust me. Go watch a Warriors game there. Go watch a Niners game there. Go watch a Valkyries game there. Go watch a Giants game there. The way that the Giants are hitting, you need a beer to get through a Giants lineup. So,
by the way, quick baseball comment, just because you brought it up, and we may not hit it again at all. You said Giants. This is my moment. Do we think the Savannah Bananas could right now be swapped into the AL West instead of either the A's or the Angels? I mean, I think the Savannah Bananas would be a better draw for Major League Baseball and more competitive within the AL West than either of those two franchises. I say right now.
Colorado Rockies, you're out. Savannah Bananas, you get Coors Field. Go.
That's it. Just go.
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. If you finish anything above fourth in the division, that's your World Series right there.
That's it. That's it.
I mean,
Bananas,
really,
let's go.
The only rule that you'd need to put in for the Savannah Bananas to function as a major league team is the elimination of the concept of balks. There's a lot of balks in Savannah Banana games because there's like a routine.
Yes.
Eliminate balks. They can play.
Let's go. Let's go. I want to see the stilts, the whole thing. But I mean, the A's opened this conversation up, of course, because of where they play.
Right.
The Bananas, lock them in. Lock them in. Their stadium right now. Their stadium right now on TV is a better draw than the A's. All right, we can move on.
It's a better show. Yeah. It's a better draw. There's more fans. I don't think they've turned off replies on their social media. Go Bananas. All right, so here we are, and we always want to invite you in with a tasty thumbnail that you say, oh, this is a subject that I would like to discuss. Well, today, that subject is Sky Moore. Look, all I can tell you is that the 49ers wide receiver position is cursed. Okay, like if you play 49ers, if you play for the 49ers as a wide receiver, somebody's got a voodoo doll and they're just sticking a pin in you at all times. We saw that Russell Gage Jr. is now done 7 to 10 days. Is he with again an injury that no one saw happen, that was not documented until we were told about it? The more mysterious injuries befall the 49ers than obvious injuries befall actual football teams and actual football games. It is amazing what is going on here. I did a video, Sam. I did a short about, Sky Moore, just uninspired, and there's no reason to get excited there. And it sounds like I'm angry at Sky Moore. I'm not angry at Sky Moore at all. He's young. I think he's younger than guys who are already on this roster. He's younger than Ricky Pearsall. What his future might be, I don't know. But you're obviously not making big plans for Sky Moore. He's not quite that in the NFL. And I guess my whole point, I got several questions that I would ask. If you're going to trade for Sky Moore, why did you draft Junior Bergen to begin with, which was a huge reach late in the draft that you basically drafted him to return special teams returner. So he better be Devin Hester if that's what he is. You could have used that pick on any number of extra body defensive or offensive linemen, which you need. You're trading for Sky Moore this late in the game because you've been kicking 3 or 4 wide receiver cans down the road as far as possible, to the point where you don't run out of can, you don't run out of wide receiver, but you run out of road to kick it down. That's the problem with the 49ers. They're in this situation, Sammy, because they didn't have the balls or the inclination to trade Brandon Aiyuk when they should have. They didn't have the balls or inclination to trade Brandon Aiyuk after they knew they should have and had a second go around to thinking that. They didn't have the balls or the inclination to trade Deebo Samuel when it was the right time to do that. You are sitting in Sky Mooreville right now because of the countless wide receivers that this front office drafted and coached and got nothing out of. The Danny Grays, the Jacob Cowings, the Chris Conleys, the Ronnie Bells, the Dante Pettises, all the guys that you hand-selected and coached for your system, none of them fit. So that's why you're at Sky Moore. You're at Sky Moore because you wasted time with Ray McLeod, because you wasted time with Willie Snead, because you dicked around on the fringes instead of, hey, Terry McLaurin's unhappy. Should we trade for him? Hey, what do you know? Devontae Adams is out there. Should we try to get him? Hey, there's other big names available. No, we're not paying for wide receivers anymore because we got buyer's remorse on Aiyuk, who we wanted but then didn't want and don't want. And now it's a mess. No decision, Sammy's made in a vacuum. And this Sky Moore decision is attached to like 30 other didn't work out decisions in front of it.
And of all the things you thought you'd have a regret about when you woke up this morning, John Mechie is a name that you have to now say, wow, we could have had him.
John Mechie would have unlocked the Super Bowl for the 49ers, but nope, that was a bridge too far. Forget
it. So forget that we're even arguing about these names. I mean, think about this. It's actually terrifying. This almost looks like the waiver wire in a fantasy league from 3 years ago. It's kind of the world. I think I'm in the twilight zone from a fantasy league 3 years ago, waiver wire week 10, where I'm scrolling through and I'm saying, all right, could this guy do something this week? The fact
right.
that this is right.
Who are the Chiefs playing? Does Sky Moore have a good matchup against a bad secondary?
What is happening? I also want to admit one thing. There is a team out there that you may remember when Bill Belichick was their head coach, the New England Patriots. You know what they could not get right and could not get right on draft day again and again and again, and it just would not happen for them? Wide receiver. They did a lot right, but wide receiver, it just couldn't happen. Swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a miss. They could not. It is one of those positions that for some reason eludes a lot of scouting departments. I'm not sure why, because we see a lot of impact from rookies and young players at that position, but for some reason, it is one where college level on that position, maybe that for some reason is the largest gap to pass. For some reason, what you're doing, and it probably comes down to what defensive backs are in the NFL versus what they are in college football, right? You're simply faster or taller in college, and then you don't have that advantage when you get to the NFL. That's just me saying that's a realistic common sense theory that I have, is that size and speed make such a difference in the college game, and now all of a sudden, what's the biggest difference in the NFL? That guy on the other side,
everyone
that fast,
no more physical advantage over your opponent.
Exactly. So now it comes down to what's going on, where's your route tree, etc. So that being said, it is difficult. However, Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel, this was once a prized wide receiver room, and now it is completely unraveled. And of course, health plays a part in this, right? I mean, Aiyuk healthy, and I know you've got a lot to say about health, Aiyuk healthy makes this a different conversation. However, depth, which we talk about a lot, comes down to this. When you're taking one Jenga piece out, what does that do to your team? And clearly in this situation, you're taking the one piece out in Aiyuk, and now your season's coming down to unhappy Jauan Jennings, no longer recovering from a gunshot wound, Ricky Pearsall, Russell Gage Jr., again, the guy that was forgotten on the Falcons wide receiver depth chart, right? I mean, Russell Gage Jr.
Couldn't even have Russell Gage, had to have Russell Gage Jr.
This is, and I don't quite want to say it's embarrassing, and we have to make George Kittle part of this conversation, of course. Yes.
We will.
When we're hitting the panic meter, we do want to understand that, of course, you've got an advantage that 95% of the league doesn't have. Tight end is a disadvantage on all but about 4 teams in this league, and the Niners have one of those guys at that position, which is essentially a wide receiver. So Kittle clearly is that. We get it. But wide receiver does matter. Look at the Super Bowl. It does matter.
What happens when George Kittle gets hurt? I mean, I don't know when George Kittle's going to get hurt, but he will be hurt and unavailable for 3 of the 17 weeks at the very least, because that's, what is past his prologue. Guys don't get healthier the longer they play. So just know it's coming. And look, my man McBride is in here. My man, the official brother. Always great to see you. These wide receiver fumbles have and will cost us a Super Bowl. Up to this point, yeah, it's a part of it.
And I will say, and again,
and this is the position that, Kyle Shanahan's the toughest on, because he played it when he was in college and played it. Kyle was not a fucking Longhorns wide receiver. What are you out of your minds? He was an extra body on the practice field. For a position he cares so much about, has his fingerprints all over, is hand selecting what he thinks is what he needs and is wrong about it time and time and time and time and time and time. It is the blind spot in this organization. The organization that gave you Terrell Owens and Jerry Rice. A blind spot, and that blind spot is wide receiver. The team that gave you Anquan Bolden, and for a minute there, Isaac Bruce, and even for a minute there, Randy Moss, but still didn't even know how to use him. This is insane.
Well, for an organization that is known, if there's one slogan for the 49ers, it's actually the catch. So that's right. We are known for the catch. And right now we have no idea who's going to catch the ball. That's terrifying.
Right now, the Niners are the injury. I mean, that's what they are. There's somebody always hurt. And here, as you're looking towards what's going to happen, let's see, 17, 18, 19, 14, 15, 16, 17 days from now, you are playing football. A couple hours from now in Seattle, 17 days plus a handful of hours, it's kickoff in Seattle. And that is kickoff with Ricky Pearsall, hoping Russell Gage Jr. can get healthy, Sky Moore, and Isaiah Hodgins.
Another name you didn't bring up. So you went through all of the woulda, coulda, and they'll face one of them week 1 also, because guess who else, who you're very familiar with, was so available that he put it on his Twitter account. Hi, the Rams just told me that I can seek another team.
Didn't need Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp solves a lot of this. Kupp solves a lot of this.
Can't use Cooper Kupp. Can't use him. Don't need
he's on 2 other teams in your division. I mean, think about that. I mean, that's terrible. If you end up needing it, if one of these players doesn't hit, and great, look, there are players that we don't know their name every season that become household names. That could happen. It seems unlikely. But it could. And if it does not, Cooper Kupp played for 2 NFC West teams and not yours. That sucks.
And the only thing I can tell you is don't let Keenan Allen have a really good year down with the Chargers, or I'm going to become insufferable. You're going to have to unsubscribe from my channel, because it's going to be a Keenan Allen regret party. And now look, somebody on Twitter, a Las Vegas bartender, thinks that he's like, take the L and move on. When I said, look, they should have signed Keenan Allen. And he's like, well, Keenan Allen said that he would only sign with the Chargers or back with the Bears. And I'm like, show me where he said, I'm not going to sign with the 49ers. Show me that quote. And he sent me the quote saying, I'll only play for the Chargers or the Bears. Guess what that does? That basically raises a flag and says, if anybody else wants me, it's going to cost more money. That's all that is. Money changes men's opinions in their negotiations all the time, every business in the world. And I promise you that Keenan Allen might have considered the 49ers had they sweetened the pot above what the Chargers or the Bears were willing to do.
Hey, do you know anybody?
Flyer.
Do you know anybody in the world who might consider leaving Chicago to live in California, no matter where it is, by the way?
Mean like a person from California and has specifically spent time in Northern California? Maybe you could bend that person back in this direction. Maybe.
This is that. Okay. You're so right. Maybe there'd be a few more dollars. And I'm only going to say maybe, because I'm sorry, the difference between LA and San Francisco at that point, you don't think he would play for the Rams or the Niners if given that option. I'm sorry, but he would have. It's the right thing to say that I'm loyal to the organizations that have paid me to this point. That is the right thing to put in print. But every single player in this league is beholden to his options. And that is simply it.
That's it. Now I got a guy here. This is Nevin 1221. Did these guys just complain about wide receiver injuries, then invoke Cooper Kupp or Keenan Allen? What the fuck, boys?
No, give me, how about this? No. Could you just give me the week 1 report right now? Just give me the week 1 report for the teams that those guys play for. That's all.
You're hoping Russell Gage Jr. can play. You're putting hope in Russell Gage Jr. Again, your young guys who have never played are all already injured. So I'll take a few guys who have been down that road and done it once or twice instead of the guys who can't even get on the road to begin with. You know, while you're complaining about Cooper Kupp and Keenan Allen, they have dwarfed the careers of everyone that the 49ers have drafted to play the position. If you halved Cooper Kupp's career, he dwarfs every Niner that they drafted to play the position added together.
Look, the resume is ridiculous. Cooper Kupp is an offensive player of the year, Super Bowl MVP. So, and this is not so long ago that it's grainy footage. Cooper Kupp was very, very recently both of the things that I just said. So Cooper is a guy that you have to consider. And again, I'm not saying an even swap Aiyuk for Kupp. He was available, as I said. Go to his Twitter account. Hi, the Rams just told me today that I can be on another team. From Cooper Kupp himself, from his Twitter account. So that was an option, and it was an option to add him to Aiyuk, not replace him.
Yes. You know, and we got here, paying injury-prone players big bucks is asinine. Look at the money that you've given to Brock Purdy. He's been hurting every year he just played. Look at the money that George Kittle's making. Look at the money that Nick Bosa's making. Everybody is injury prone. The sport says everybody out here is prone to injury, and every Niner is injury prone before games even start. I mean, that's what's amazing. Most of these teams get guys hurt in football games. You got 49ers getting their teeth chipped, bending over to drink from a water fountain.
I just want to remind everyone, we have no issue with Sky Moore. And again, Sky Moore in the right situation on a depth chart is just fine. Sure. I mean, again, when you get guys from the Chiefs, you always feel as if you're doing something right. Even if the Chiefs don't want you anymore, it feels like, you know what?
It's kind of like if Andy Reid's like, yeah, we're good.
That could also mean something.
Where's the success story?
I would say, I mean, Marcus Peters.
Okay.
I mean that's one that they just couldn't quite get it right with him, and he did. I mean, in 2 other spots,
Marcus Peters was there. Charles Haley, he was going a little crazy.
But I would say Marcus Peters is the guy that Andy might say, you know what? Yeah, if I could have figured that one out, we could have shored that position up, you know, for long term. And fine. So he found it somewhere else, and frankly, maybe Marcus just didn't like being in Kansas City. Fine, but you're right. The list is not long. The list is not long.
Speaking of lists, let's look at the top 10 NFL wide receiver duos according to the interwebs.
This one came, I think, from CBS Sports on this. They love a good list, and they put one together. And yeah, take a look at this, Damon. What sticks out to you here?
Well, what sticks out is you've got, you know, a team at the bottom who is in your division, Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp. Again, you could have had Cooper Kupp on the 49ers. Then you look at Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel, you know, right above them. Terry McLaurin is a guy who might have been a Niner if they had made an aggressive trade. Deebo Samuel, I heard he was a Niner at one point. Jaguars don't care. Miami, Jalen Waddle, sure, with Tyreek, no problem there. Devontae Adams, again, didn't need him, didn't want to pay him, but he's right there on that list. Above it, I got no problems with that list.
No, it's good.
It's a pretty damn good list. Can I show
No,
everyone how much
well,
the
wait.
list can change in a year's
Well, wait,
time?
before you move off this, I just want to say one thing. Remember also, as we look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, Equinemius is already here and gone from the Niners as well. It's a name we just didn't bring up. And if we're talking wide receivers, we have to talk about the week that he was a 49er and is also
that era.
That was, I mean, what a chapter. But no, this list is great. And also, what I also want to remind everyone here is look at the teams on this list. Then they're not all right. I mean, they're not all necessarily Super Bowl contenders, but how do you feel about these teams, right? Go top down. Obviously, the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champions. The Bengals, everyone knows they had the top offense in the league last season, but missed the playoffs because their defense was so atrocious. The Vikings turned Sam Darnold into an MVP with their wide receiver combo.
George Pickens, so every single available Pittsburgh Steeler was for a minute linked to the 49ers. Niners pulled the trigger on nothing. Brandon Aiyuk was definitively linked to the Steelers. My God, he even looked like Mike Tomlin. They're saying he's got to be a Steeler. No, that didn't happen. Again, we got to Sky Moore. Nothing against him. I feel like the scene in freaking Superbad where he's like, no one likes home ec. No offense. No one. I don't. In my life, I don't need to know how to bake a tiramisu. What the fuck? No offense. Sky Moore, no offense. But the reason why we're at Sky Moore is because 30 decisions before it either were made or weren't made the wrong way.
And like you said, go back and look if you want to see how a list changes.
Let's go to 2024.
2024, CBS Sports put out the same list around the same time last year, and heading into the 2024 season, this is what the list looked like.
Tyreek and Jalen Waddle went from 1 to 7, and they're both there and still healthy. What's going on there?
That's weird, and that's probably because again, that's a Tyreek Hill social media reaction, right? He says he basically doesn't want to be here
anymore.
Exactly. And no one likes Mike McDaniel. And you have to admit, we're less confident about it's not the two guys on that list we're not confident about. It's about the guy delivering the football to them. It's just that nobody is that excited to see Tua and thinks Tua is going to be there for 17 games. So that becomes, okay, we're dropping you on the list. Niner fans, avert your eyes. The 2024 list at number 5 is scary to see. I mean,
and by the way, they put that list up there definitively. This is the 5th best wide receiver group in all of football. And then last year, that wide receiver group was literally at the center of the 49ers not really working out anymore. You got guys who can't separate. You got guys who are hurt. Deebo's playing in slow motion. Every gadget play is being detected like submarine radar picked it up. And
it was rough. And there were so many games where Deebo, I mean, you talk about mystery, the greatest mystery of all to me, you talk about it, you don't see an injury on the field and then a guy's gone. Nothing was more mysterious all season than watching Deebo Samuel's name pop up on that scroll on the bottom line of being unavailable when you had no idea at all. And late in the week, Deebo Samuel became a Friday questionable more than anybody in the league last season. It was really mysterious the way Deebo would be in a game, have a major impact in a game one week, and then unavailable for the following week. It was brutal. But this list, look at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on this list. This is a top 10. This is not 2 or 3 seasons ago. This is 12 months ago. This list came out. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 on this list.
All have changed.
New addresses. New address. Deebo Samuel, new address. Cooper Kupp, new address. Stephon Diggs, new address. Keenan Allen, new address. Brandon Cooks, new address. Devontae Adams, new address. I mean, that is wild. That's what happens in this league at that position. So good luck for the Niners getting it right. You felt really good last season coming in. And as you said, it didn't end up being a strength. So I don't want to say, look at this and now have all the regret, because it was clearly not the same. But it was a strength coming into last season. And you could argue right now, if you put together the 2025 list, the Niners could be DFL on that list. Wait, if you're looking at duos, I mean, not even depth. If you're looking at duos right now, what is the duo even?
Does DFL stand for dead fucking last?
Dead fucking last. Dead fucking last, right?
I mean, here's the thing. We don't, considering the duo has yet to be identified. Like the 49ers week 1 duo in Seattle, it's Ricky Pearsall, you hope, plus question mark.
That's rough. The fact that Sky Moore's in the conversation makes it really rough. And so he just got here. So yeah, it's tough. You'd like to be solidified everywhere. And again, maybe Kyle knows. Yeah, look, there's always this, Damon. I do want to give front offices this credit. Maybe they know something we don't. right? So maybe the idea that these other players weren't. But the Sky Moore thing tells me, no, we do need a body. If there was no move made at all, maybe I'd think they know something we don't. Sky Moore tells us, no, they're a little worried. They're a little worried enough to get another body.
And again, with Russell Gage Jr. now being hurt out of nowhere mysteriously, you need to trade for another wide receiver. You know, I mean, if Sky Moore, if you thought Sky Moore was the bottom of the options barrel, I guess you got to pick the barrel up to find the next guy.
And Amari Cooper's another name who I'm sort of wondering what happened there. And maybe he's just not in football shape, but I feel like Amari Cooper makes a bigger difference.
Yes. And I mean, home ec, no offense. It's all bullshit.
No
offense. Home ec, no offense. Well, home ec, it's all tiramisu. I'm not going to need to know how to make tiramisu.
It's a great call. Oh, man. I think we're going to make...
49ers need is the Iron Chef of pounding Vosh, okay? That's what they need if we can put it all into super bad quotes.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, look, the beauty of it is you'll see Cooper Kupp week 1 in Seattle, and you can throw it in our face. If Cooper Kupp makes no impact in that game, throw it in our face. If Keenan Allen makes no impact in that Chargers game, throw it in our face. Fine. If Deebo Samuel makes no impact in the Commanders game with Jaden Daniels, throw it in our face. Those are tough bets. Those are 3 bets you got to make right now. 3.
There you go.
3. So there you have it.
Opportunities to throw it in the host's face if it makes you feel good. Look, I'm just worried that the 49ers are going to catch a slow start, maybe because of this, and just get behind the 8 ball on a schedule that says, go nuts.
And by the way, who's going to catch shit for this? Let's be clear. Who is going to be blamed for this? It's the position of blame every week. The guy that's going to get the egg on his face in the public eye will be the $50 million man delivering the football. And I think he's being put in an unfair spot. Brock Purdy's the one. If the passing performance here is 210 yards, interception, no touchdown in an overtime loss to the Seahawks, it's going to be on Brock Purdy.
Oh, and look, the offensive line that they didn't really reinvest in, and now the wide receiver core that no matter what investments they made aren't exactly paying off. All I can tell you is that Kyle Shanahan better have some really, really creative X's and O's to run some dudes open. And look, he does. Kyle runs nobody's open. And if Brock Purdy has the time to get the football to those nobodies, it might work anyway. I wouldn't put it against. I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that the 49ers are about to have a bad year, but it feels like, specifically at the position of wide receiver, instead of the NFL making it hard on them, they make it as hard on themselves before they even turn around to the NFL for the NFL to make it hard on them. Like they have just, not every decision works out. Not any decision that the 49ers have made at wide receiver has worked out. Ricky Pearsall is nothing more than a strong maybe at this point. He's a strong maybe. I'll give him that. He's a strong maybe. Everybody else has checked the box of or already gone.
And to curb everybody just a little bit here, we'll put a smile back on your face. I texted you one thing on Saturday, Damon, and it was Purdy to Pearsall looked pretty nice.
It did. There is a little something there. That's great. Bubble wrap both those guys. I don't want to see a lot of passes for Nate Sudfeld in this game coming up against the Chargers.
Yep.
Right? Hey, yep. Nate, I know you just got here 5 minutes ago, but you are playing every snap because we can't even afford to get Carter Bradley hurt.
It's why he's here. There are guys that are signed this week. For everyone for the overreaction of people that are signed
this week, you're not on the week 1 roster.
You're signed so we can get through this game. You're signed so we can complete the assignment of third preseason game. There are a lot of guys in that category.
It's camp body week around the NFL for sure.
That's it. So congratulations, Nate. And he may end up somewhere else. Nice sip. Big one. Big goal.
Glorious sip of the day right there. Glorious. Again. Okay, look, I got no more 49ers agita to offer you. I just, again, with we're banging pots and pans. Say do something at wide receiver for like 4 years in a row now. And they're putting things together with scotch tape and duct tape. And
you used a word that I'm going to just write in the chat here. You used a great word for what this felt like, and it's a word that doesn't get used enough, and it's not a curse word, but
likes a vocabulary word. Everybody,
whimpering is a good word. Now, I didn't know if this was inspired by the corgi or not, but whimpering is something that is usually a dog. You'll hear a dog that is a bark where he sort of wants something from you. It's a whimper. A dog under the table is usually whimpering for scraps of food. And this felt like a whimpering move from a team that really needed, you wanted to hear like a crack of the bat home run move. And this was more of a whimper. This was just sort of a air out of the balloon.
I wanted a home run. I'll take a ringing double. You're laying down bunts in foul territory. Yeah, this looked like Quan tying the All-Star game with that slap to nobody playing at third base. Yeah. All right. So look, while you're worried about the Niners, while you're worried about what they're going to do and who can actually make it to the Charger game healthy, come out of the Charger game healthy, and then get to week 1 healthy enough, you got to do something other than just twiddle your thumbs. Like I said to Sammy, this Netflix doc, so the first I heard about the Netflix doc, I did a segment saying the last thing I need is a Cowboys documentary. And I'll begrudgingly watch the first episode, but I'm probably not going to get sucked into that. I could not have been more wrong. It is outstanding. It really is. And you can say that the Cowboys are definitely overdone now. They weren't overdone in the 90s. They deserved the amount of conversation and the spotlight that they got in the 90s. They were incredible. And this Netflix documentary, because you can't tell the 49ers story without the Cowboys, and you cannot tell the Cowboys story without the 49ers. Episode 3 is a love letter to the 49ers organization. Episode 5 becomes the first year of Barry Switzer. So episode 3 is the start of the back-to-back Super Bowls. By the end of episode 4, Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones are falling out. The start of episode 5 is the official breakup between Jerry and Jimmy and Barry Switzer, who, by the way, you want to talk about if Barry Switzer were hired today, he would have been laughed out of the room. Like, there's no way Barry Switzer could exist in a modern world for a millisecond. Like, if you thought Dan Campbell was too much with freaking... No. Hold on, wait, I got the wrong Dan Campbell. Here we go.
Come on, These nuts.
I mean, that to me, that's Dan Campbell going crazy. You had Barry Switzer at the introductory press conference going like, you hope I'm the right hire, don't you, Jerry? You hope I'm the right. Like, he's screaming next to Jerry Jones. He's screaming they're sitting this close to each other. He's like, you better have gotten this right, Jerry. I mean, the two of them were insane. It's like they did lines of cocaine off a toilet right before the freaking press conference started. The two of them coming in there amped up, fired up. It was a moment in time that can never be duplicated again. And this documentary is awesome. And then at the end of episode 5, the Barry Switzer Niners are coming back to Candlestick, and then the Niners kick their ass.
And because of what episode 3 gave us, you almost wipe the history out of your mind. As you're watching it, you're convinced that maybe I got the score wrong. Maybe I remembered it incorrectly. Wait, what actually happens at the end of this game? How can you take a game that I have in my brain where I know what happened and show it back to me in a way that I now no longer really truly remember? Because you're dramatically telling the story so well that I can no longer place the outcome. You have created and heightened the drama to the extent where I actually don't know, even though I officially know or could check it in 10 seconds on my phone. And instead I'm so locked in, this is like a movie I've never seen before. I was absolutely blown away by the way the footage was put together in this game, Damon. To go back and see the game when you realize you watched that game in 92 and 95, both of those games, you watch those games and don't remember. I mean, the angles that they're bringing you, the replays that they're bringing you of some of what happened on the field, the sideline shots were not even part of the broadcast back then. I don't know where this was. If it wasn't regenerated by AI, I don't even know where they got some of this. There's commentary, mic'd up, live shit happening in these games that we've never seen before this documentary. It was staggering how much it felt like something I had never seen before, even though it happened over 20 years ago. It was so well done. And like you said, what a kiss on the cheek. I mean, episode 3 starts with the Niners headquarters. I mean, this is a documentary about, right? I mean, it's a documentary of it's Carmen policy. Niners headquarters is where this Cowboys documentary opens up for episode 3. And yes, this is all an entire love letter to Jerry Jones, but Jerry admits, and every Cowboy that is interviewed on this admits, this was about beating the 49ers. We couldn't measure ourselves at that point without understanding that we had to be better than the Niners, and going into that 92 championship game, knowing that the Niners were the better team. They were hosting that game for a reason, but technically they had not only a better regular season, but a better roster. And at that point, a better pedigree of winning. And the only difference was Steve Young was quarterback, not Joe Montana. But remember, as it points out brilliantly, Steve Young was the MVP of the league that year. So all questions about Montana or Young were now thrown out the window. And remember, you're watching Aikman in that game, and it's impossible to watch the game. It's almost impossible. The only thing I couldn't do is watch the game and unremember that Troy Aikman is a multi-Super Bowl winner, Hall of Famer, and now broadcasting Monday Night Football to me, right? The one thing I couldn't displace from my reality is knowing that the other quarterback other than Steve Young is a Hall of Famer. And yet in that game, it's sort of, he's the little engine that could. Troy Aikman and the Cowboys are the little engine that could coming into that game. That's the only part that's hard to displace because of what we know the Cowboys became. And that's what's so brilliant about it.
The field at Candlestick is as much a part of that game as any player that played on that field. It was amazing how bad it was, how they put down a strip of sod in between the hashes and you had good footing there. Everything outside the hashes was like playing in quicksand. It was,
and by the way, let's give credit look, I don't know what George Seifert did, but at least the Jimmy Johnson part is documented on this series that Jimmy actually walked the field to be able to dictate to the players exactly where and where not to step or attempt certain plays. He wanted Norv Turner to understand that on certain parts of the field, they could not use certain plays because people would slip. And then, of course, the game comes down to a huge play where the Niners end up slipping on their own field. So that it would look, the whole thing. I want to go back to something you said, and I want to make this about America's team, and I want to make this about the Cowboys right now, because nobody as an Eagles fan enjoys shitting on what the Cowboys aren't at this moment more than me. But what you said is correct. You were not thinking you needed Cowboys content in your life. And when you got it, it was spectacular. And here's why. Because the Cowboys story runs through your franchise. It does. For those that have been jealous of the Patriots or jealous of the Chiefs, you have no idea what it's like to be jealous of what the Cowboys had built. Because the Cowboys celebrated it in a way that the Patriots and the Chiefs do not. There is such a calm maturity about what the Patriots did and the Chiefs did. And to your point about Barry Switzer, there was such a bravado about the Cowboys. The Cowboys didn't just win. They liked telling you that they won. And of course, any of the fans were insufferable. So trying to beat a team that was better than you and hating them, there was nothing quite like the Cowboys dominating because they enjoyed telling you about it. And this was such a special walk down memory lane.
And Michael Irvin just steals every scene and quote that he gives. And look, Jerry Jones has the right to be the arrogant SOB that he is. He took $140 million investment and has turned it into a $13 billion global entity that has no peer in sports. No peer. The Dallas Cowboys are peerless in global sports in terms of, but Real Madrid, get the fuck out of here. Okay,
no, it's the
Cowboys, all right?
It's a star that nothing shows up. I mean, again, if I was on life support, right, and they were trying to like get signs of life in me, if you flashed a Cowboys star in the room, I guarantee you there would be a blip out of me, right? That would require there would be some emotion that came from me at that point in time because of what it means. And I want to remind everyone, this is a Cowboys team that if you want to call your Cowboys friend after watching this and remind him that the only NFC champion team, the only NFC team that hasn't been in the championship game over the last 20 years is the Cowboys. Every other NFC team has been in that championship game before and more recently than the Cowboys were last in it.
The Carolina Panthers.
The Panthers, remember, Cam Newton, they were in. Oh, the Falcons, 28-3. They lost the Super Bowl. Go through every team and remind you the Cardinals were in it against the Panthers the year the Panthers went to the Super Bowl. Every other team has been in fact, the Cardinals have been there twice. It's stunning.
What's really amazing about the whole thing, too, and the documentary gets it right, is how irrelevant the AFC champion was to the Super Bowl picture. The NFC title game, whenever it was played between the 49ers and the Cowboys, was the Super Bowl. There was no, and this wasn't just, it's easy to crap on the Bills. It was easy to crap on it was like was it a 12-year or 14-year run of NFC only wins the Super Bowl? This
but I want
to coming out of high school and when I was in college.
Yes.
I mean, it was like the AFC showed up to a gunfight with a spork.
It was a little like Eastern Conference, Western Conference basketball, which that has shifted now, and LeBron changed all that. But there was that moment in time where you thought the Western Conference was the only thing that mattered in basketball, and the East champion never mattered. And, the Lakers helped do that, and the Spurs helped do that, of course. But I want to remind, within that thought, Damon, I was under the same impression when I'm watching this footage in episode 3 and realizing, this is going to be for the championship. And then I'm thinking, I wasn't quite sure. Like, I'm thinking in my head, okay, was this a Bills Super Bowl or not? This is the fucking Bills we're talking about. Do you understand that no team in the AFC could sniff the Super Bowl also? So this Bills team was a dynasty of their own waiting on the other side.
Right.
The Bills were the only ones. So by the way, as much as the Cowboys won those Super Bowls in a row and the Niners were in that many championship games, the only team that went to 4 Super Bowls in a row is the Bills. There was an incredible Los Angeles Raiders team that got so smoked in, I believe, a divisional game against the Bills. I mean, the Bills made other great teams in the AFC entirely irrelevant.
Right.
Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Marv Levy, what they did. So there was this dynasty waiting for you to get through that game. And yet you're right. They knew whoever won that game was the champion.
And
who was waiting.
Jerry Rice says it in the documentary. He's like, look, I won 4 Super Bowls. If not for the Cowboys, I have 6. I mean, he's not even like supposing might have happened. He's like telling you right now, definitively, I have 6 Super Bowls, but for them, they took from me. And the way that the 49ers and Cowboys measured against each other was a unique moment in time. And then you got to factor in Brett Favre, right? and freaking what the Niners ran up against. While they were, flapping their wings at greatness and pencil them in for 10 wins for 18 years in a row, whatever the run was, it was insane. They had to come through the 85 Bears. They had to go through the Redskins when they were still thick. They had a really good New York Giants team. They had Brett Favre at the height of his Hall of Fame powers. They had the triplets happening, and that was just the NFC. We haven't brought up.
And by the way, remember, and this is crazy to remember, but Kerry Collins had the Panthers in an incredibly relevant spot of all things. I mean, it's true. The Panthers actually played a factor there at one point in time, but you're right. The NFC was wild at that time. And this was just, we talk about, sort of a war of arms. And that's really what it was between. And then, of course, Charles Haley and Deion Sanders end up being huge pieces in that, where you talk about, a war of arms and like where they ended up within that meant that was the winning team. And so, I mean, the Haley part's great. I mean, seeing right. Charles Haley and remembering Haley as both a Niner and a Cowboy, to play on both sides of that. I mean, this is like Johnny Damon level Red Sox Yankees, of what Charles Haley was doing there.
By the way, 3 Super Bowls for Rice, not 4. Did I say 4? Is it 3?
Yeah, I think you said 4. You said 4. Yeah.
3 Super Bowls for Rice.
And if not, the 6. And
look at it this way: if it wasn't for Barrett Robbins, he probably would have had one more, right?
Absolutely. Wow, that Raiders team was exceptional, and what a disaster for them on that Sunday. But it's one of those things where rarely will Damon and I sit here and nod our heads to say, go do something with and for the Cowboys. It's a tough team. It's a tough team to love when you don't grow up loving the Cowboys. That's not something you adopt. I mean, unless you're a bandwagon type fan. And even then, right now, there's nothing to be on the bandwagon about, right? So no new fan right now. It says I have to be a Cowboys fan. There's nothing in
really into George Pickens.
That's it, right? Exactly. But there's no winning to hang your hat on in recent memory. And yet, you and I are both, as really people who are loving the Niners, loving the Eagles, right? Who have, by the way, are there 2 teams that should hate the Cowboys more? I mean, if you're a Niners fan or an Eagles fan, who hates the Cowboys more than those 2 franchises?
Look at this way. Everyone who's ever played the Cowboys claims to be a rival of the Cowboys. They're not. No. The Cowboys don't really have that many rivals. Every team in their own division. Okay, I guess, sort of. Yeah, I mean, I get like the New York Giants, Cowboys, they played some big games. Commanders, sure. But that was more like a Cowboys and Indians thing when they were the Redskins, I think.
Yes.
Eagles, Sure, that's
I mean,
rivalry, but that's
the Buddy Ryan
crazy.
body bag. See, the reason I'll only see the Eagles for this. The Buddy Ryan body bag thing becomes like there's another level to what happened there, and again, it wasn't just Buddy Ryan saying put them in a body bag, but then players were injured and out for the season after that game. So there's like a real deep-seated hatred that happened on the field between the Eagles and the Cowboys. And so that's fine. And right now, of course, the Cowboys are double fingers to the Eagles because they're the champs. But yeah, and we're saying go watch it. Go enjoy it. And 8 episodes, I think it is, Damon. 8 episodes of something you think you would hate. And yet by the end of it, you feel like you're in love with Jerry Jones, of all people. Of all people that you would love Jerry Jones, it's amazing.
It's so Jerry Jones is wildly interesting. I mean, there's just if flawed men are interesting, Jerry Jones is interesting.
Well, do you not want to go to that ranch after Thanksgiving or what? I mean, I don't hunt, but I would gladly be
the ranch
walking
in
the
Missouri.
field.
Oh yeah,
The fucking Missouri ranch with after Thanksgiving that he goes to with Steven and the kids. His father's buried on it. They've got the entire gravesite on that. I mean,
yeah.
Property. That's amazing. Where's Dad? He's in the backyard.
He's in the backyard.
Oh my God.
Anyways, we pause for supers when we get them. Mark's Maine, thank you for the 5 spot there. Says, not sure what's worse, Larry's awful AR glazing or all the fans T Lance paint huffing.
Okay.
What's AR glazing? Who's
if that's not Rodgers, is it? Is that Aaron Rodgers?
Is it Anthony Richards?
I mean, could it be Anthony Richardson?
Yeah. I don't know. The season needs to start soon before more. Here's the thing. If you got to complain about Larry, go complain about Larry to Larry. Don't complain about Larry to me, you pussy.
No. And by the way, and whatever Larry's.
Thanks to the super. I don't mean to call you.
No. Thank you. Thank you for the
go
super.
Complain. Go, if you got to complain about somebody else's content, do it to them, not me.
And by the way, and we welcome everything Larry brings to the table because it usually makes us fall on one side of it. That's the beauty of Larry. It makes you, it kind of perks you up. You're either on Larry's side or you're not. And that's what you want out of good content. And he absolutely does that. I will say about the super you put up, the most important thing is, yeah, get the season here. Although I got to say, I've appreciated August this year more than I can remember. There's something about August. Maybe it's Shedeur Sanders. I don't know. I am so invested. I know I'm so invested in these quarterback battles that have nothing to do with my team. Why am I so invested in Anthony Richardson, Shedeur Sanders? Why do I care and yet I do. I'm so excited to watch JJ McCarthy, Caleb Williams. All these things have been August stories. And I am right there. I'm on the edge of my seat. Oh, by the way, can we just say this for August? Ashton Jeanty. We talked about the Saturday game with the Niners and Raiders, but Damien, can we say this much? Ashton Jeanty's a man. I don't care what he does the rest of his career. Holy shit, is that a football player?
He took a pop. He took a big boy pop and wanted to keep on going. Let's see. Here's the thing. Preseason means nothing. He actually hasn't felt the sting of an actual in-season NFL hit yet. But he did. He got clocked good in that game.
There's 2 things I want to give credit for the preseason. Cam Little hit a 70-yarder, and I don't care what. There was another line on the other side of that. That's a 70-yard field goal. That's fucking impressive. Like that's not just a tee indoors. Like that was a field goal in as close as you can be to a game. That's a fucking game. He hit 70, and by the way, he hit it, and it was like the dude that stands near the net caught it. I mean, that was a kick. And when you see it, you don't even realize it's from 70 yards because it's just so clean the whole way. You're like, okay, 45-yard kick, no big deal. Fucking 70. And what Ashton Jeanty did to, I think it's number 2 on the Niners, that's real. That was football. Whoever number 2 is definitely wondering what happened. That was.
Well, I mean, we're talking about, where was it?
I think it was number, am I right? It was number 2. Let's get it out. I think it was number 2.
Deommodore Lenoir. And Lenoir is a hell of a player.
That was like my helmet's hitting yours and one of us is falling, and it was Lenoir.
Just back to Anthony Richardson, because we were talking about him. Maybe someone was, look, I'll tell you about this. There's a lot of talk about where does Anthony Richardson need to go? The Colts now need to trade in. You know who could use? I got Anthony Richardson's landing spot. I know where it is. Indianapolis.
I'm so glad you said it.
Okay. Why does Anthony Richardson now have to be completely abandoned by the Indianapolis Colts? If you think that Danny Dimes isn't going to get hurt this year, Anthony Richardson, you stay right where you are. You take that humble pie, you work hard, you get more mature. I'm hearing that, you're bad in meetings, you're kind of a douche. Wrap that up, refocus, and if you can't wait out Danny Dimes to play himself off the field, That's like an easy thing to do, right? I mean, so the bridge is now burnt in Indianapolis. They got to move on. He's got to move on. No, I would keep Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis until you're sure he can't play, until you're sure of it. Now, by the way, there are some staggeringly bad numbers that he has produced. Like, 53 quarterbacks qualify for X. He's 53rd all the time. He is like measurably the least effective, least accurate, worst quarterback on game day this league has seen in a long time.
There's certain numbers at quarterback that, we all like to come up with new numbers that we're judging people by. Completion percentage is one that's hard to hide from as a quarterback, because that means you're throwing the ball and it's going to the right guy or not. And that's the number one part of the job. Number one part of the job is, I guess, deciphering defense might be number one. And number two is getting the ball where it's supposed to, right?
Can I tell you what I always took away from Steve Young? Steve Young would do interviews on KNBR, whatever, and I would listen to those, and I would hear, and he would always come back to the single point: a catchable football. He says there's nothing more important that you can do as a quarterback than deliver a catchable football. That's the job, a catchable ball. And he's right. I mean, that's the thing.
Anthony Richardson is on the wrong side of 60% when it comes to that. He's on the wrong side. I mean, you got it. 60's probably like the Mendoza line in baseball used to be 200, and for now, it's somehow that doesn't even matter anymore. But
190 now for the Giants. 185.
But in football, 60% is still, you have to make it catchable 6 out of 10 throws. And Anthony Richardson's not doing that. And unfortunately, in the preseason, he did what he seems to do best, which is get injured. So that wasn't really going to make the difference there with Daniel Jones. But I'm going to ask you, we talk a lot about this term in football, upside. And you're right. I want to disagree with you and find a better spot for Anthony Richardson. And the only one I might say is Miami. Like the Tua thing's precarious. I think that'd be nice. And like, if you knew you had a really cool guy behind Tua, that would be fun. And Anthony Richardson's a cool guy. Upside. Are you going to bank on upside Daniel Jones? Or are you going to bank on upside Anthony Richardson? That's why he stays where he is, because you're still more excited. You're still more excited about the ceiling for Anthony Richardson. The problem is the floor has been a fucking catastrophe for this guy.
Right. So here's the thing, John, you got something wrong, but not by much. He's 23 years old. He is a phenomenal athlete. You don't give up on a 23-year-old who is having a hard time adjusting to the NFL in a franchise that, but for the 5 minutes it had Peyton Manning and the other 2 minutes where it had Johnny Unitas, has never really mattered. So
Andrew Luck. I mean, again, quarterback. They've seen good quarterbacks.
Sure,
I'll say that,
Andrew
right?
Luck. Again, my mom would have drafted Andrew Luck. That
was a slam dunk. That was John Elway 2.0. That was a slam dunk in regards to Andrew Luck. I only want to say that Indy has seen some special things at that position. Anthony Richardson looked the part, and he still looks the part. He still looks the part.
It'd be silly to give up on him since he's, yours and under contract and in the building.
And not overpaid. He's also being paid a fine amount of money right now. And it's not like, look, his agent's not calling anyone right now and restructuring his contract.
If you let Anthony Richardson go in a trade or whatever before you've decided definitively that your future is Daniel Jones, you're out of your mind. So.
And you're right. And the difference is, look, the Niners did this with Trey Lance. I mean, it's similar. I do want to say there's a similarity here to the Niners, and the difference is Daniel Jones is not Brock Purdy. Daniel Jones, unfortunately,
they didn't give up 3 draft picks for the guy.
Oh my God, it's fucking unbelievable. Just please, anybody tell me that you don't believe in Brock Purdy. The Trey Lance thing is so ugly. If not for Brock Purdy, it's unbelievable.
Everyone's gone.
Do you understand how that should sink an organization? I mean, good for John Lynch and Kyle. If not for Brock Purdy, do you understand the stain that Trey Lance is? And forget about what he did in a preseason game and a half, which is, by the way, unfortunately, that's the best thing he's put on tape, by the way. The best thing Trey Lance has on tape is 2 preseason games in a Chargers uniform. But do you understand the stain that would be on this organization if not for Brock Purdy?
Look at it this way. They got Brock Purdy, and it's still a stain on the organization. Without Brock, it is enough to make the entire. So again, sometimes you buy a house and you just have to redo it a little bit and fresh coat of paint. Sometimes it's a tear down. This thing would have been a tear down, but for Brock Purdy, it would have been a full on tear down. We I got a little special lunch with an old buddy of mine, old radio pal.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that. There's nothing like.
There are enough San Francisco radio insiders in here to get this reference. I'm going to go to lunch with the barista today. I haven't seen Andrew in such a long time. We're going to lunch today. There's a couple more things, though, that I got to ask you about before today in history. Number one, Sam, this is something that I talked about yesterday, and I think I even surprised myself with how I really felt about it when I really sat down and thought, what do you think? Because it is the most American of events, for sure. The Super Bowl is. There's a little buzz that a Super Bowl might be played in London. If that were to happen, Sam, would that bother you in any way? Would a Super Bowl in London come with a demerit that bothers you if they did that?
I was so convinced that you'd be pissed about this because I feel like I always picture you like having to pack the bag, yelling at Jillian, like, how are we going to get everything? We got to go to London. How long are we going? And the kid, like, I'm picturing you being upset that it's further than it should be.
Bring Ozzy to London now?
Yeah, exactly. Especially when this year it's in Santa Clara, right? So it's like this is the perfect time to ask you and piss you off about it, right? It's in your backyard this year. And the thought that it could be further away than it's ever been, I felt like you're for sure going to be pissed and full of vinegar on this.
I would rather a Super Bowl be in London than Santa Clara every year. That's
I love it. And I'm the guy that, as you know, I spent 6 months living in Florence. I'm like I'm a little more of the international guy at this point, even though you're the one that was in fucking Japan most recently and Europe for that matter. But I'm thinking to myself, I like to consider myself cultured. I'm gonna have the other opinion here. I'm gonna be the guy that says going to London's kind of cool. And instead, you and I are talking about this, and you're ready for it also.
For the most part, the Super Bowl is a television show.
For the most part, I mean, right? The percentages are not even close. Right. Forget about no one's worried about what the beer costs at a Super Bowl game. This is about the 120 million people that watch the game and never even look at ticket prices.
I will get as upset that I'm watching a Super Bowl in London as I get upset that I'm watching a game on Amazon Prime. In other words, I'm not upset. I just do it. It's available. It's right where the other games are on my television. I'm not going. I could never afford to go to a Super Bowl. I've been lucky enough to go to a couple of them, but it is only because I'm being paid to be there. The vast majority of everyone watching, except for maybe Rob C-Note, who seems to have a lot of money to throw around. Other than that guy, the rest of you are, how about this? Anybody in this chat right now, have you ever been to a Super Bowl? Just tell me, have you attended a Super Bowl if you are in this chat? Has one person, I got 190 people watching on my side live right now. We've had over 1,000 people come through in this show already. If you're watching right now, have you ever been to a Super Bowl, paid for the ticket, went yourself?
And I want to say one thing because we watched the 92 NFC Championship and Super Bowl with this documentary from the Cowboys. My friend Nate, one of my best friends, Nathan Zeke, was in the halftime show with Michael Jackson. We saw that come up in episode 3 and it was really cool. And I'm kind of reliving, wow, imagine Michael Jackson at halftime of the Super Bowl. And yeah, my friend was actually at the Rose Bowl at that. He was in the entire halftime show, which is incredible. But
Andrew did this.
Yeah, he was. He literally did that. And that was his ticket to the Super Bowl, the only time he ever went, of course, and would even ever probably consider it again in his entire life. I love that question to everyone here with us. Have you gone? I mean, and by the way, how about this? How many times, Damon, have you and I gone, quote unquote, to the Super Bowl? I would tell people, right, if I'm in a job interview, I was at 15 straight Super Bowls. But what it really meant is I showed up in the city that the Super Bowl was in 15 straight years in a row.
And left before the game even kicked off.
I left on Friday or Saturday 14 of those times. I stayed in Jacksonville and ended up at that Eagles-Patriots game that, of course, I wish went a little better for T.O. and McNabb. But other than that, the Super Bowl is, like you said, on my couch. And by the way, enjoyable as hell from my couch.
Oh, the Super Bowl is a better television experience than it is an in-person experience. The only thing that's really cool about being in a Super Bowl is while you are sitting there, you really do feel the entire globe's eyeballs on you. Like, you do realize that everybody in the world is watching what I'm looking at right now. And there's no denying it. And it feels it. You feel the gravity. And maybe it's the security that you go through and all of that. But you feel the gravity of the Super Bowl for sure when you're at it. That is inescapable.
By the way, that Super Bowl in 2004, I just want to say that Super Bowl in 2004, which was Eagles and Patriots, my cousin, we actually pushed my cousin into the game without a ticket. She walked with a bunch of fans from Boston that surged her into the game without a ticket.
Wow.
Which is like, how does that? I'm so impressed by what happened that day that she got in.
Facial
it's unbelievable.
There shut that down.
Now they're hitting my nose and charging me immediately. There's no way I can get in, but she got in. Good for her. That was what an incredible day that was. But yes, you're right, Damon. The Super Bowl, none of us were going to London. Don't complain. None of you that aren't. First of all, those of you that are in Santa Clara, how many of you are going?
Afford to go to a Super Bowl? The flight to London's not going to hold you back.
Good.
You're going to afford the flight to London. You're going to be able to afford the trip to London. So, the game's location in America, honestly, if we're being real about it, has nothing to do with the success of the broadcast or the game itself. You put Joe Buck and Troy Aikman in the booth, coming to London from a field that is still 100 yards. All the dimensions are the same. The stadia over there are nicer than our stadiums, I hear. They're just unbelievable. The Tottenham Hotspur new stadium, new Wembley that they built out, that's supposed to be incredible. The game's location on your television is all that really matters, and it's the closest 99% of all diehard football fans will ever even get to the game. I saw one person on here saying basically like, my dad brought me to the Pontiac Superdome when I was 15. Again, so
Congrats.
Maybe your father was wealthy or something at that time. I would also say that the Pontiac Superdome Super Bowl, that was in a world that you could get into a Super Bowl for a couple of $100, which back then was the equivalent of $1,000 right now. But now a Super Bowl ticket is a $5,000 conversation, and that's for the worst row in the upper deck.
Conversation starter at 5,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's like a poker game where it's a $5,000 buy-in. Good luck, right? Like who's sitting at that table? Who's sitting at that table? I mean, that's
this way. The people sitting at that table ain't worried about losing $5,000.
They're buying back. They're losing $5,000 and buying back, which makes it a $10,000 game. So I want to say three things about the Super Bowl. Number one, yes, I'm excited. I would be as excited about London as anything else. But
I value that Super Bowl ticket. This is the guy, Delmar Dennis. $40. $40 Pontiac Silverdome.
Imagine that.
Shit.
Wow, imagine that $40. Wow.
Right.
All right. So three things. Number one, every Super Bowl should be in Las Vegas. I'm gonna double and triple down on that.
It should be New Orleans, Las Vegas, New Orleans, Las Vegas, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Miami. New Orleans, Las Vegas, New Orleans, Las Vegas, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Miami.
That's okay. And I want to be the guy. They can put it on my tombstone. Should have been in Vegas. The Super Bowl should have been in Vegas every single year. And that's because the city is so damn equipped to handle it. You're not going to hear all of the media folks complaining about rides or hotels or dinner reservations or shit to do at night.
I couldn't get a car. I couldn't get a bus. I couldn't get
we couldn't do it all week. We didn't know what to do. I mean, Vegas is so equipped to entertain. Forget about the players. It's not about entertaining the players, although you could, and obviously they would all agree to that. But you could entertain everyone that is covering the game or there to watch it as a fan. You would entertain everyone in a better way than any other city on this planet. So I will, again, triple down. Vegas should be every Super Bowl. I'm not upset about London. Number two, from that story, also with London getting the Super Bowl, was about London getting a full package of 17 games. So remember that 9:30 a.m. Eastern slot that happens, it sprinkles into the season, of course, now more than ever. And they're not all London. I understand there's Germany and there's a few others, but
right. It's 30 a.m. kickoff here on the West Coast. So
So by the way, I'm going to say I was not a fan of Thursday night football every week. I wasn't. I didn't think we needed another day of football. I loved the sanctity of Sunday and one little blip on Monday. I think Thursday it's a lot to tell your wife, that there's 3 days every week that you guys
I'm also watching college football. So now we're married on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
So that's what you have me for. So it's a lot. So that I don't love Thursday night football, but I'll say this much. You want to give me 6:30 a.m. every Sunday? I got no complaints.
Sam, I agree. I love waking up and that game is just on. I would rather watch that shitty Cleveland-Jacksonville game from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium than a millisecond of the best pregame show you could give me. Like, give me a little football to get me ready for a day of football.
That's all I need. All I need. And by the way, at halftime, you could tell me what other big games are happening in that day, or in the 5-minute post game. Save the highlight for later and just tell me what's coming up on the day. Not that I don't already fucking know it, but whatever fantasy advice you want to give me, whatever the hell it is, give it to me then, and I'm okay. You're so right. Pregame show is my 6:30 a.m. football game. That's my pregame show. And it could be, by the way, it could be Giants practice squad versus Giants starters, and I'd be watching. So I'm fine with that game. I say, because think about what a college football Saturday is, right? You've got that Hawaii window is always nice. And again, it's one standalone game, right? We're all chasing that bet for Hawaii late in the day.
The Pac-12 blew it. Pac-12 after dark mattered, man. It was good.
If you could have, then we'll talk East Coast times, but if you could have 9:30 a.m., 1 p.m., 4:25, and 8 p.m. every Sunday, sign me up. I mean, I'm no more available to my family right now than if you made that game at 6:30 Pacific time every Sunday. So give me that. I would swap that with Thursday Night Football right now. So that's my number 2 point.
Absolutely. You can make some pancakes for the boys while you're sitting there watching football.
That's it. It's on. Something would be on anyway, right? I'd be watching. I would be watching Carissa Thompson in that pregame show, and then Jay Glazer. I'd be watching all of that anyway. And now instead, it's actually a game. And of course, in my ridiculous living room, I got 4 TVs, so I could still have all of that on plus a game. Right. Good for me. Fine. But give me that game. Give me that. Wait, and I used to. I remember, like for a moment, I remember the only time I complained about it. There was a year, Damon, where it was only on Yahoo, and at the time, I didn't have Yahoo pegged to my television screen, so I felt like I was forced to watch it on a laptop, and I just didn't like that. I wasn't mad about Yahoo. I just wanted to get it on my TV, and back then it wasn't as easy.
Living room to have a laptop open.
Exactly. So that's the only thing that upset me. Give me 6:30 a.m. all the time. RIP Pac-12 after dark. Yeah. Yeah, it was glorious. And that's what. So my number 3 point is simply this. The other tweak, if we're tweaking the Super Bowl and sending it to London, the only other tweak I want to make, other than making my Sunday, from London, you give me 17 of those. Super Bowl Saturday night, I'm still a big fan of. I would run on that platform still. Super Bowl Saturday night, I will still run on that platform. Give me Super Bowl Saturday night, and it's the only thing that increases the popularity of that. For me, it absolutely does that.
Give me Super Bowl Saturday night, or we move Labor Day to the Monday after the Super Bowl. No one needs Labor Day at the end of your summer. You just had summer. When you need a respite from your labor is the day after the Super Bowl. That's beautiful. Labor Day.
And remember, the 18-game schedule that's being proposed.
It's going to happen.
Gives us, by the way, I believe it's President's Day. I don't believe it's Martin Luther King. I believe it's President's Day, but there is a post office holiday Monday waiting for the Super Bowl if the schedule gets pushed to 18. The Super Bowl then happens a week later, and you do get a Monday technically off for those of us that are able to get off from work for those days. But I believe, and I should look at the calendar, but either way, there is one, and that's Goodell has already mentioned it. It would give a Monday off. But I still think even Monday holiday, the Saturday night, just think about the spectacle. I mean, the UFC doesn't do an event every month. They do an event every Saturday night. And by the way, people pay money to watch it every Saturday night and have parties for their friends every Saturday night for the UFC. And in fact, the only person that should argue right now my idea about a Super Bowl Saturday night would be Dana White. And by the way, Dana's good enough that he would talk to Goodell and he would find a way to make the undercard of the Super Bowl a UFC event. Which would be fucking amazing. Yeah, exactly.
Gracie versus
that's it. So
Gracie versus Taylor Swift.
Give it to me. So that's my Super Bowl rant. Give it to me in Vegas.
I like it.
Give me Sunday morning, 6:30 a.m. and give me Super Bowl Saturday. That's it.
Do you think you're ever going to be picking up your Super Bowl on a pay-per-view? I do. Look at it this way. The minute the NFL can make more money selling Super Bowl pay-per-views than including the Super Bowl in any streaming or network package, they'll do it. Again, the minute making more money in London at a Super Bowl is found, a Super Bowl's going to London.
Without question. And we talked about it last week. 10%. The NFL took 10% of the ESPN, not the other way around. ESPN didn't buy 10% of the NFL. NFL bought 10% of ESPN. All the NFL has to do is tell their partner who's broadcasting the game in whatever the rotation is, Amazon, Netflix, ESPN, Fox, or CBS, whoever's NBC, whoever's got the game that year, it's a profit share. You're in on the profits from the pay-per-view. That's it. Figure out the percentage, whatever it's got to be, and we are sharing in the profits that come in from that pay-per-view, period.
By the way, Chicago Jason says Damon's just going to move a national holiday. I know that we talk about Labor Day like it's a national holiday, but the truth is it's not. It's a calendar custom. It's a calendar custom. Labor Day moves. Thanksgiving always falls on the third Thursday of November, regardless of what that date is, where Christmas is always December 25th.
Yeah, it's not locked in. 4th of July, you can't just move to the 6th and call it 4th of July. What are you, the Pac-12 10, the Big 12 10?
Exactly.
You can't just assign a number to something that doesn't exist unless you're college football. Unless you're college football, you can't just make up a number for something that isn't actually that number. So that would be hard with 4th of July. But you're right, Labor Day, nobody knows that one as a date and a stamp.
Look at it. The regular Ryan says Super Bowl Saudi Arabia on the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
The minute Dubai is willing to give the NFL $2 billion for one Super Bowl, they go into Dubai.
And I'd be happy to show up on the Monday before the game in Dubai and just see what that looks like. I don't even need to be there for Super Bowl Sunday. Get me there the Monday that people start arriving, and just to see what Dubai would be an unbelievable. Good luck with that ticket and in the hotel room. But
by the way, how are you going to sell beer at that Super Bowl?
Yeah, good luck.
Well, no, they figured out a way to do it at the World Cup. They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. I mean, you might have to be whipped when you drink a beer, but what's one whipping for a beer?
Exactly.
Okay. I've got a great Super Bowl bet for you. It's one that you've never even thought of. Here you go, Sam. Your one Super Bowl bet to ponder. I guess I don't even, you can tell me next Thursday whether or not you're making this bet, but I got it for you. Going off at plus 170, yes, or minus 250, no. So these are odds projecting that there's about less than a 30% chance of it actually happening. That's what those odds dictate. What are the odds that we will see a first-time Super Bowl champion this year? The real question here, the bet that you're making, is simply how much money would you be willing to put on the following field producing the Super Bowl champion? What you would get would be the Bengals, the Bills, the Browns, the Cardinals, the Chargers, the Falcons, the Vikings, the Lions, the Panthers, the Texans, the Titans, and the Jaguars. Would you put any money on that group to go ahead and win the Super Bowl? Because there are, in that group, 3 teams that I actually think could do it. 2, maybe 3 soft maybes. And then the rest are just, it ain't going to be the Titans. It ain't going to be the Panthers, the Jags, the Browns, the Cardinals. There's nothing to really talk about there. But you get the Chargers, you get the Bills, you get the Texans, you get the Lions, you get the Vikings, and you get the Bengals, which, again, soft maybe.
Forget about soft maybe. This is the Bills, Bengals, Lions conversation. Throw the list away, Bills, Bengals, Lions. You telling me right now I can make a bid?
CJ Stroud bounce back, really good defense.
I like it. They've just never shown AFC Championship. They've never sniffed that, and so it just feels now you got to make 2 leaps. And it happens. The Warriors, superseded. Like you got to get a little better before you become a dynasty. And then the Warriors were like, we're going to lose to the Clippers in the first round, and then we're going to just take the entire league by storm for a decade. So sometimes things happen, but it feels like the Texans. I just don't quite see it. And even Jaden Daniels, as special as he was, lost in the NFC Championship. It's a lot. You get close and everyone starts talking about, everyone talks about the Rams like they would have won the Super Bowl. Like, no, they lost.
They're coming down to earth this year. I'm first.
And we didn't even hit it, but you're right. The Stafford thing, he's healthy now and we should all be excited. I'm with you also. And you remember me, what I think about Stafford. Someone in that organization told Stafford, go find a job somewhere else. And then remember, the Giants stole Jackson Dart from the Rams. The Rams were going to draft Jackson Dart. When the Giants traded back, that was to get ahead of the Rams. And if you think I'm wrong, what did the Rams do with their first round pick? They fucking traded it the minute Dart got drafted. They wanted Dart. The Giants came in and got him. So someone in that organization had doubts about Stafford, which means I'm not sold on Stafford again. And no, the Rams didn't win the Super Bowl. They didn't host the NFC Championship game, and they didn't beat the Eagles. And for those that thought they were close, that's cute. They allowed 4 60-yard touchdown runs to Saquon Barkley in 2 games this season. So no, it didn't happen. And on the 2 biggest plays of their life, Jalen Carter blew them up twice, and that was the end. They didn't lose in the NFC Championship. They didn't lose in the Super Bowl. They lost in the divisional round. So stop it. Stop it on that. But back to this point about the bet. It's a Bengals, Lions, Bills conversation to me. And if you're telling me I can get those three versus the field, that's pretty nice. I mean, the only thing that you'd feel more confident about, obviously, if you had Chiefs and Eagles on that list, right? Those are really the only two.
We're talking about has never won a Super Bowl before.
So exactly. That's why. Right. So the only thing you're really talking about is, do I want to take I have three options in Bengals, Bills, Lions, and the only other two, and I'll throw the Niners in because I know Vegas also has them up there. So it's really the only other teams, and I know they're not first timers, but it's really about whether they could win it instead of one of those three that we think are heavier favorites. Chargers are interesting, and they'd have the chance to knock out the Chiefs even technically before the playoffs, right? I mean, think about it. I mean, the Chargers could win the division. That's not outrageous right now either. I like the bet. You know what? Yes. First of all, I'd rather have the yes than the no on that bet.
Okay.
Something to root for all season, right? I mean, I'd rather have the yes, and there is upside to it. There's upside to it because even if you go to the Vegas odds, the three teams I mentioned, Bengals, Bills, and Lions, are on the first fold of Super Bowl odds. When you go to Vegas right now, Super Bowl odds, those teams are listed as significant teams that could do it. It also reminds me of this. There was an article I read this week about whether the Bills or the Ravens are ready to take that step past the Chiefs. And it reminded me of two teams came to mind. One of them the Niners, one of them the Bengals. And here's what I had to say to myself. Are the Niners going to kick themselves? They had the Chiefs in overtime in a Super Bowl. Will that be as close as these Niners ever get to winning a Super Bowl as long as the Chiefs and Mahomes and Reed are together? Is that going to be the closest? Are we not going to, in other words, are the Niners going to say, oh my God, that was it. That Super Bowl, that overtime, that was it. It very well could be.
I hope not. If they look at it this way, the answer is yes. Until
right
they win
now,
the Super Bowl.
You're right. So right now it's a yes, and it's a loud yes. Number two team I thought of, the Bengals. Think about this. In the last 7 years, there's only been two teams that have represented the AFC not named the Chiefs. And those teams, by the way, beat the Chiefs in overtime of the AFC Championship game. So think about that. For 7 straight years, the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl or in overtime in the AFC Championship game. Wow for them. Good for them. But the Patriots with Brady, which is obviously long gone, and the Bengals with Burrow beat Mahomes and the Chiefs in an AFC Championship in overtime and didn't win the Super Bowl.
At Arrowhead.
Is that going to be the greatest regret for Cincinnati, who's never won a Super Bowl, beat the dynastic Chiefs, and then, even though it came down to the wire, let Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp beat them in a Super Bowl?
It's rough for the Bengals to reach a Super Bowl and have the Kansas City Chiefs greet you, and the guys who was greeting you before that was Joe Montana and the 49ers. Ouch.
Ouch is right. Ouch. I mean, that is Cincinnati was right there, and there was a call in the end zone, by the way, that I hated in that game that could have turned it at the end for Burrow. But those are the two teams I thought of when you're getting over the hump. So I think I'm taking, you know what? I love that bet. Bengals, I'm telling you right now, Bengals, Bills, Lions versus the field for the Super Bowl with plus money on it. Because you say it's plus 175. Is that what you said? There's plus money on that?
Yeah. So it's plus 170.
That's nice.
Yes. And no is minus 250.
Are you kidding? That's a good bet. First of all, I get three contenders. First of all, it's more teams. Technically, you get all of those.
Right.
But you get all 7. I think you said it were 7 or maybe even 8. But
a handful of them actually matter.
Those are Super Bowl. Those are in the conversation of Super Bowl favorites. Bengals, Bills. You'd want Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles. If I wanted to cover myself for a bet for Super Bowl this year, don't you think I'm covered with this list? Bengals, Bills, Ravens, Eagles, Chiefs. Bengals, Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Eagles, Lions. If I had to end it there, I mean, I want to get the Niners in there, but right now we're not excited about them in that way. I would say those teams.
That's what happens when you pick up Sky Moore a few days before the season begins. Not that it's your fault. Look, tiramisu's delicious. We understand. No offense. But home ec is bullshit. We all know this is bullshit.
Oh my God. All right. I like the bet. Thank you for that. I had no idea that was coming. I love that bet. I do like it. That's
the only thing we have left to go over then is how historic August 21st has been. August 21st, not the most interesting day that has ever been put on the calendar, but there are some things here that we need to talk about. Specifically, a very happy birthday to Kim Cattrall, who's almost 70. She's 69. I bet she's experienced there. Look, forget Sex in the City. Kim Cattrall was in Porky's. She was in Police Academy. She was in Big Trouble in Little China, and she was Mannequin.
Dude, I'm so glad you said it. I'm sitting here. My brain is just saying mannequin. I'm waiting for you to say mannequin. Mannequin. For those that don't know, and I'm sure it doesn't hold up, do yourself a favor. Mannequin. Sit through 30 minutes of Mannequin and tell me you're not in love with Kim Cattrall.
Okay. There's elements of that. So Hollywood, the gay character, you want to talk about things that wouldn't happen in a movie anymore? Hollywood
could
Hollywood.
never happen. But wow. But what a movie. What a movie.
You know what? It's great too, because Kim Cattrall knew some of her co-stars from Police Academy by the time she did Mannequin. So it's just, there's a lot there. Kim Cattrall, gorgeous. She really was. She had her moments, no doubt.
And iconically solidified with Sex and the City for sure.
Happy, and you know what? She's smart enough to stay out of the
and at first I asked myself, why isn't she there and how tough is it? And then I realized she just can't be that same character.
Gary Radnich said it best. You got to know when to get off the stage. She knew.
For that, I would say yes. For that performance, yes. For what that character demands.
Right. The hypersexualized sex pot. You're 68 years old. Act your age. Still pretty hot, though. Still pretty hot.
It's still a yes. It's a yes. Kim Cattrall, it's still a yes.
Mona from Who's the Boss? The original GILF. Stop it. What are we doing? Okay. Happy birthday to Usain Bolt. 39 years old.
He came up last week too. We were talking about Usain Bolt
because that's when he won some gold medals. He won some gold medals. And I said if he had hands, he would have been really famous.
What I like about that story with Usain Bolt is when we say that if he had hands, he'd be great. He actually went out. He did go on the field. I can't remember who gave him the tryout or what it was, but Usain Bolt went out there and tried to catch footballs. So I commend him for that. We always said what if, and then we saw the what if, and it was like, no, you just run races. Okay, that's fine.
Happy birthday to Alex Cooper of Call Me Daddy fame now. This woman at the age of 31 has launched the equivalent of like the women's bar stool. She's a titan. She's a titan.
And good for her. And I'm so glad. And it has forever changed what we think or what we thought at one time. Well, actually, you know what? Let me say this. I just don't think there's really a difference between broadcasters now as far as again, race and sex and all that's really out the window. The fact that there used to be sort of only one portal if you were a female in broadcasting for sports, it was like you're talking to a coach on the sideline and like that's it, right? Like that's it. And that obviously gives a very small window into breaking in. What she has done now is just there is no more line. She's melted the line of what it means to have an opinion about sports. If you're smart and entertaining, that's it. That's the requirement. That's it.
Joy Taylor might suggest there's a little bit more to the job.
I love you, Joy. I love Joy.
1911. August 21st, 1911. A Louvre employee named Vincenzo Pergura stole the Mona Lisa. He brought it home. He kept it at home for 2 years. Then he brought it back in 1913. Imagine the balls it takes. I'm taking the Mona Lisa home tonight.
So that's like of all the rivalries in the world that we talk about, that's clearly like a France versus Italy there because Vincenzo's not a French name.
Vincenzo, no. Yeah. Peguria, no.
That's an Italian name, and that's a guy who just said, France, you think that everyone's into the Louvre? Watch this. What if
Mona, I take? You're coming with me.
What if I take your star quarterback with me? Now what do you got?
It's gonna hang it over the fireplace.
Looks nice in here.
Matthew Broderick can come over and see it in the freshman.
It really fills out the room. What's the line from right? It really ties the room together. Yeah, exactly. It really ties the room together.
Oh, I should have wished a happy birthday to Hawaii. Today in 1959, Hawaii became our 50th state. Today in 1959. Today in 1942, Sam, and I'm going to say that this is the most discussed, least watched classic there might ever be. Bambi had a theatrical release in the United States. It's still a classic on Disney, but how many people like modern times they'll use Bambi as a reference, but they've never actually seen Bambi?
Can I tell you why? I think Lion King replaced Bambi.
I think you might be right.
Because Bambi is the original there's a parent that dies, and the kid has to now endure that.
Right.
And
every Disney movie became parent dies, kid endures.
Exactly. But the Lion King became more it used to be, it was Bambi at one point was the most brutal to watch the beginning of, and then it became no, Lion King has now surpassed that. Lion King is now the Mustafa, that is still more resonant with, and again, I mean, that's natural in history. You have something that's a little more recent, but I do think Lion King just overtook Bambi in regards to that story arc.
Today in 1961, Motown released what would become its #1 hit for Motown Records, Please Mr. Postman by the Marvelettes. Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Still a great song, still a banger. Still going to get the dance floor going at the midnight at Dow. No, they probably have not played that, but it would still work.
But there would be you come up with a remix of that song, everyone is slamming their head. Yes.
Today in 1987, no one put Baby in the Corner. Dirty Dancing got released. Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey. Let's not pretend that this story is about him having sex with a 15-year-old girl who's at Jewish getaway camp. Look at it this way. Having grown up in upstate New York, the Catskills, the Borscht Belt, it was all real. It all happened. And there were a lot of camp counselors who, had that Goyim appeal, if you don't mind me saying
it. And that's perfectly okay. And that movie holds up. And again, there's the sadness of Swayze no longer being here that hits hard in that movie, though. Ghost, obviously, but Ghost is already sad. So Dirty Dancing really isn't sad, and then you're just missing Swayze throughout it. You can be sad about other things watching Ghost, but with Dirty Dancing, you're just sad that he's no longer here. That's really what it hits. It hits me hard.
Rob D is saying that is Jennifer Grey pre-nose job.
And you know what? And good for her and all. I love Untouched Beauty.
Chef A.
Yeah.
Wish didn't get a nose job.
Exactly. Yeah. By the way, I wish
Jennifer Grey's career ended with that nose job, to the point where she was only brought back as a character who used to be a famous actress, but then got a nose job and nobody recognizes her anymore. She had that as like a reoccurring role on some TV show. And it's funny that we bring up that nose job, because our next fact in 1994 is one of the ultimate could've, should've, didn't, it paid off nose job stories ever. She was afraid that a nose job would affect her singing voice and the intake and intake of oxygen. But in 1994, Barbra Streisand had her first public concert in 27 years. She did it for HBO in her backyard. And I remember I'm in college in 1994, and my mother and father were so excited about this Barbra Streisand concert on HBO. And it was just an older lady sitting on a stool singing ballads. It's all like, it didn't mean anything to me. I didn't appreciate how great she really was. It is. She's still with us. But never got a nose job because she thought it would affect her singing voice.
And good for Barbra Streisand. And for those that don't know about her, go back and watch Prince of Tides if you want to really appreciate Barbra Streisand and see her in a role where she is. Yep, she had a minute. She had more than a minute, but yeah, Prince of Tides is a great one if you want to remember Barbra Streisand in that way.
By the way, Chef A wants to know.
Yes. Oh my God.
What's going on with the Jewish cookies? What's going on with the Hamantash?
A lot of big rumors here. Aunt Marlene is threatening to actually come to California from New Jersey and make the cookies here and have me help her out with getting the website together. So there's a lot of conversation regarding Steta's Hamantash. Steta's Hamantash, still delicious, an unbelievable cookie. I saw some at the deli last night when I was there picking something up for dinner.
Let's raise the price of poker here. You tell Aunt Marlene, if she comes out, I will fly to Los Angeles and you and I will do a live stream of the baking of the Hamantash, and we will try them and eat them together. I want apricot. I want it all.
You'll get it all.
If she comes to LA, I'm coming to LA.
We're doing it. Apricot, raspberry chocolate. We're doing it all. Super Bowl in London, Hamantash at Gaviota here in Los Angeles. It's done. That's it. And
nobody's getting a nose job.
Nope. Super Bowl of cookies. It's happening right here. No nose jobs.
In 2017, for the first time in 40 years, we got a total solar eclipse in America. From Oregon to South Carolina, were you in the path of totality? I hope you were. I hope you didn't stare at it directly. And enjoy all your eclipses. I've always thought, imagine being, dawn of time man, and that eclipse happens and you don't understand anything. Like you really thought God was angry at you that day.
They're just taking away the sun, but that's an option. Okay, great.
I'm here.
By the way, did you have any of you made the cereal box or shoebox item to that sort of fake telescope you're supposed to use to see the? So I did that last year because we had one last year, right? Was it last year? It was, yeah. And I did the whole shoebox thing, which is hilarious. Do yourself a favor, get way ahead of it. In fact, order them today just in case it happens even in another 10 years. Have in a drawer somewhere in your house the eclipse glasses. What you don't want to be doing that day is making a cereal box into something to view it through.
You don't.
Those glasses, you look up, you see it, and you're really going to capture it. Not to mention, tons of people are going to get good photos of it, so don't worry about standing outside and ruining your eyes.
Eclipse prices the day of the eclipse.
Exactly.
You pre-order that.
Have those glasses just available. That's it. Do yourself a favor. They're incredibly cheap, and they're worth it for that one day. And yeah, you don't need them for anything else, but you need them that day.
It is National Sweet Tea Day. And it is a gorgeous day outside, so go get yourself some sweet iced tea. It's one of the gifts of the South that should ripple through America more than it has. I'm surprised that sweet tea isn't more popular. I've always been surprised that the John Daly as a drink hasn't, or excuse me, not a John Daly, but the
Arnold Palmer
isn't more popular of a beverage order outside of certain regions than it is.
I would say if you're asking me at a restaurant consistently, if there's a lot of Coke, do you want, Coke 7-Up with this? There's a lot of that. And I feel like sweet tea would rattle off the tongue also. And by the way, and I challenge anyone out there, anytime in your life when you've asked a restaurant to bring you iced tea, would you not have been more excited if it were sweet tea? Without quite what you're thinking in your mind that you're going to get through that straw and that first sip. If you've ever had sweet tea and then you go just get an iced tea at a restaurant, the difference in your brain for those two experiences is a gap that's almost too impossible to walk. The fact that they're even called almost the same thing is hilarious because of how one is so outstanding and one is so bland and unappealing.
And would you like to see how relatable our chat is to the audience and to us as well? We'll end with the regular Ryan. Honey, where do we put the goddamn eclipse glasses on the next eclipse day? You're right. Honey, where are my eclipse glasses? You didn't find them yesterday.
They're in the garage. They're in the garage. What? Everything's in the garage. What do you mean? How am I going to find them in the garage? On top of everything else, we turn the garage into a playroom.
Is it in the rubber band drawer in the kitchen? Every kitchen's got a rubber brand soy sauce scissors drawer. Is it in there?
That's it. Seal them somewhere and keep them handy. You will need them. And when you do, you'll be excited you had them.
Where do we keep the stamps? Jillian and I were yelling at that the other day. Where do we keep this? I'm like, what do we even need stamps for? Where do we keep the stamps? I'm like, I haven't used a stamp since 97. I don't know. Where do we keep the stamps? It's a great question. You want to know where I put them? I put the stamps in the armrest of the car. Because when are you going to need a stamp? When you take the damn envelope to the mailbox, that's when you need your stamp.
Done. It's officially that is smart. The only thing smarter than that is the reading glasses in your phone, which my cousin Jack figured out. Because everything you have reading glasses in every room, I'm assuming, Damon, and I do too. I'm pretending I don't.
No, I don't have reading glasses. I have glasses.
Okay, so fine. So, but imagine having your prescription in your phone. Because what are you reading more often than not, Damon? Your phone. Your phone. What are you reading all the time?
Have you reached the moment of your aging where you're like, oh man, I got to grow the text on my phone? I won't do it. I won't come off the 12-point font. I've seen other guys. It's like a billboard when they're reading their phone. Like there's 2 words on each line of text because it's 15-point font.
To answer your question, that's what I did before. When I didn't want to admit to myself that I needed these, I did this first. I raised the font first to save myself what I was calling the embarrassment of needing the glasses when the reality is everybody needs the fucking glasses. That's what I did. I raised the font to pretend that I was still 10 years younger. Didn't work very long. So yeah, when you got the glasses
have to be greenish. I can. He's Sammy, Jesse, Raphael.
And again, the Eagles glasses. The Eagles are off here to the side, but the Eagles glasses over there. Yeah,
there they are. There they are. All right. That's the show, boys and girls. We thank you so much for watching. It's always fun when Sammy drops by on a Thursday. Let me encourage everyone again, as you're thinking about lunch, maybe for you, for your office, for your backyard, check out Ike's Catering. Right now, he's got $3 waiting in every single person's just account. If you are a member of, you say hi to Kenny, you tell him that Damon and Sammy sent you, and they love hearing that, the Dubliner West Portal. Thank you all very, very much for watching. If you could drop a like on us before you're wrapped up watching today, we'd really appreciate it. Do it on both channels. Do it on both channels. Give a like to Sammy, Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano, and Sam.
And speaking of that, I just want to quickly say to everybody, keep track of this. So this day next week is also Andrew Siciliano's birthday, the 28th of this month. And whether it happens on birthday day or maybe one of the days earlier in the week, we're trending in the direction of a Siciliano, Damon, and Sammy next week.
Make it happen. Thank you all for making this show happening by being here. Thanks for the supers. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the loves. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the subscribes. Thanks for the notifies. And thank you for being you. It's gorgeous outside. Get yourself some sweet tea and enjoy a great day. In the meantime, please remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, they're gone.